Yeah, so I mean, we've talked about two teams that are making moves in Ottawa and Detroit. Another team that made quite a few moves yesterday that weren't awful. Carolina Hurricanes.
In Carolina, they were active, especially in the trade market.
Yeah, they trade away DeAngelo. I mean, that's an L for Philly.
Yeah.
For not for the reasons that you might think.
No, certainly the character, is always going to be an issue with DeAngelo, but I think he proved, just to give him the benefit of the doubt that he can, get along with a locker room in Carolina. That really wasn't an issue. My issue with that is giving the guy $5 million per season and pairing him with arguably one of the worst defensive defensemen in Rasmus Ristolainen. I mean, I can't wait for Gerard Gallant at the Garden to put the first line of Mika Zibanejad, Chris Kreider, and Alexis Lafreniere right up against DeAngelo and Ristolainen. That's going to be fun.
Fun times. Yeah, so they traded DeAngelo. They made a separate trade that involved them getting Brent Burns. They gave away a defensive prospect, I think Steven something. I can't remember the last name.
Steven Lawrence, forward, played in the bottom six during the playoffs. He's a pretty good player. I was impressed by him, during that run.
Yeah, no, that was definitely not the name I was looking for. But
that was in the Burns deal, correct?
Oh yeah, right. It was Steven Lawrence. You're right. My one Hurricane fan in the group chat I'm in, he wasn't happy about letting Lawrence go, but he's just like, okay, I can live with Burns. I would not be surprised if Burns puts up 60, 65 points this season.
Yeah, he's going to be playing alongside Jacob Slavin. And, we talked about it before the show started, right? Burns is going to be the power play quarterback. He's going to slide right into DeAngelo's spot. And Shades, you said it best yourself. Brent Burns is one of those guys who will just shoot from anywhere and everywhere. It doesn't matter where he is. So,
I love watching Brent Burns play. Like I said when we weren't recording, if you see the puck coming up the boards and you see Brent Burns there, your eyes better go to the net because that puck is getting shot.
Yeah.
Two other notable things with the Hurricanes. Ian Cole and Brendan Smith both walked. Nino Niederreiter also walked, which that kind of sucks because Cole, Smith, and Niederreiter did have good seasons for them. But they were able to sign Andres Kasha, which, dude, Kasha's a decent player. That I honestly thought that was low-key a good signing. And then the Vegas Golden Knights literally gave them Max Pacioretty in what was probably the single best thing to happen all day, because the Carolina Hurricanes would then go on Twitter and post, "We are going to miss you." What was the exact tweet?
We'll never forget the impact you had on the Canes organization. It's number 69.
Yep.
Future considerations.
Best tweet of the entire day. Don't at me. It's not up for discussion. They were gift wrapped Max Pacioretty. Rest in peace, those future considerations. But, dude, we're going to circle back to Vegas in a second. But I would argue that the Hurricanes had a lot better of a day yesterday than most people are going to give them credit for.
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, we already talked about Brent Burns. Again, they had a hole that they had to fill, and I think there's worse ways to do that. I think it's key that Donald Waddell did not take 100% of Brent Burns' contract, 33% retained. That $2 million, it matters. I'd rather have Brent Burns at $5.65 million than $8 million for the next 2 years. So, throw that out there. And of course, they took advantage of the Vegas Golden Knights being the worst franchise to allocate their assets in NHL history. If you look from transaction number one to the latest transaction of Max Pacioretty and Coghlan going to the Carolina Hurricanes, it's like you're on an acid trip reading some of those moves by Kelly McCrimmon. Just stupid. We'll get into it very soon. But as far as the Hurricanes' perspective, they're looking for a first-line winger to play alongside Sebastian Aho. And more importantly, they're looking for a goal-scoring winger. And Max Pacioretty, despite his age, is one of those guys who still knows how to put the puck in the net effectively. And it's, again, watching the Hurricanes losing 7 games to the Rangers, they missed two things: a better power play quarterback than Tony DeAngelo. They have that because we know how putrid their man advantage was, and a goal scoring winger to go alongside Sebastian Aho on that first line. So Don Waddell did good for himself. Let's see how it works out, and let's see how they're able to execute it once the season starts. Because look, all these moves can look wonderful on paper, but if you go out there and Brent Burns, shows that age has finally caught up to him, and Max Pacioretty shows the same, it could blow up in the Hurricanes' face. You never know.
Yeah, Pacioretty is almost the shoe-in for 20 to 25 goals.
I think more than that. I think he's definitely a shoe-in for 20. I think he'll give him 30.
No, 20 is that's the low end of the spectrum.
Yep, definitely. And you know what? The Islanders missed out on Pacioretty too. I know they were looking for a first-line winger. So, so many teams could have used what Carolina got. And Don Waddell was first to it. So good on him.